each other.
It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.
Welcome back to the Evan edition. I am your host, Evan, and today I am joined by a legend in the movie review game. His takes are bold, his energy is unmatched, and he's here to dive into the madness with me. It is Zach from Zach Attack Reviews.
Hello, my brother. That was probably the best entrance I've ever had in my life. That was amazing. That was better than when I graduated college.
They're gonna keep getting better too, my friend. Trust me. But it is so good to have you in the studio. How has your weekend been?
My weekend has been not great, as you know. We've been texting. I've been telling you. My internet went out 11 o'clock at night on Friday, and it came back, I think, 2 o'clock today. So I've been without internet for a long time. I felt like I was back in the 70s or some shit. I don't.
And for people that don't know, if you are a content creator and your internet goes out where you make your content, this is very detrimental to what you do. So it's more than just like not being on your phone, you know, all that stuff. But yeah, if your internet goes out, it's like you're, you know, in World War I or something.
My Tron review's 2 days late because of that.
I know, but it was still really good. And I can't wait to hear a little bit more about it from you. We got a great show today. We have so much good stuff. Anytime there is a Comic-Con, and right now a New York Comic-Con is officially almost in the wraps, there is great stuff to talk about. And we got some bangers to talk about. We're going to talk about Marvel's slate that they announced, including Daredevil Born Again, X-Men 97, Wonder Man, on top of many, many other things. We're going to play Goat or Nope again, and I got some great ones that are going to stump me and Zach, so I cannot wait. James Gunn finally has spoken on Peacemaker finale and what that will mean for the rest of the DCU. Invincible season 4 trailer dropped, and we know who is playing the villainous Thragg finally. And Sigourney Weaver might be back as Ripley for another Alien. We are eating good, and things just keep getting better. So let's get it going, my friend. To start it out, I just want to talk a little bit about what have you been watching recently?
Oh, good question. Twinless is a movie that I watched recently that I highly recommend everyone to check it out now that it's available to rent. Dylan O'Brien, in his best performance of his career, plays a man that is a twin, and he just lost his twin, and he's trying to figure out what to do with his life because they were so codependent with each other, which most twins probably are. And that idea on its own is like great for exploration because I don't really see movies about twins and like grounded in that way. But then the movie takes a turn where he meets someone at it's not like an AA meeting, but it's like for people who lost their twins. And he meets someone else that lost their twin, and they become codependent on each other. And it kind of takes some funny and dramatic turns that I did not expect. So highly recommend that. Twinless, you can rent it.
Dylan O'Brien's been really crushing it too with Pony Boy and Twinless. He's really stepping away from what made him a big name with the Maze Runner like that, and really showing that he can act.
Cotto Lake on Max. I don't know if you saw that.
Cotto Lake. No, I have not, but I've heard great things about his performance. So I really love the choices that he's starting to make for his career, and it seems like it's his happy place. And so I'm very happy that such a talented actor is getting these roles that he knows will stretch him even further to great heights. So I am very excited for that as well.
Yeah, definitely check out Twinless if you haven't got a chance to see, because the theatrical release was like one showing per day, so there was no way to see it in theaters. So definitely
big time. No, I'm just kidding. And then what else? You saw Tron Ares,
So
right?
Tron Ares, yeah. I had no excitement for this movie going into it because when it was announced, I haven't seen any of the Tron movies, so I was just like, I don't really care. Jared Leto's in this, ugh. But then I watched Tron on Tuesday, and then I watched Tron Legacy on Thursday. Absolutely loved them. They're not masterpieces or anything like that, but they were really, really good films that I enjoyed. So I was more excited to go into Tron Ares, and I thought it delivered what I expected to deliver. Beautiful visuals, banging soundtrack, and some great action.
That's what more can you ask for in the movie theater on the weekend? I mean, you want a spectacle. How was the theater? Were they engaged in the movie? Was it a good crowd? Like, was it big? Was it filled? What did that look like?
It was a mix. There was some murmurs, some people making noise, some people were kind of just sitting on their hands and going, yeah, it wasn't like, oh my god, or anything
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So pretty much kind of like how the reviews have been. Some people are into it, some people maybe a little bit more critical than they should be when it's just supposed to be a spectacle. So
Yeah.
definitely get that. Awesome. Well, I ironically on Tuesday when you guys had your movie club review of The Smashing Machine, I was on my way to go see The Smashing
Yes.
Machine. And just briefly, I just want to say, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone because I can't, because it's history and it's already spoiled. No, I was kidding. But I would say that the movie itself, it's not the best fighting movie I've ever seen. It's not Warrior, it's not Southpaw, but I would say that the performances are what really drives this movie when it
Yeah.
comes to The Rock and really showing people that he is an actor, not an action star. He is an actor. He crossed that finish line with flying colors, and it's incredible, the transformation. Even the people I was with who were hesitant, who are not like us big movie guys who know that this is The Rock's performance, she was blown away. She was like, oh wow, I did not know he could act like that.
That's
And
amazing.
that is, I think, what his goal was from this movie, is to have people have that reaction. On top of that, Emily Blunt is fantastic. I wish we saw a little bit more of her, but like what she gave us was incredible. I hope it's enough for a nom for the Oscars. I think it could be. And then the real story of addiction is just what was really powerful about this, and how to be an addict recovering in a relationship where someone is still using, where you're still getting that pressure and you want to stay with this person because you love them, but it might not be the right move for your sobriety, but also
or your career.
For your career. So it was just very interesting to see that. And I thought Benny Safdie did such a good job finding that balance in that story, and also the realism of what those elements really mean to someone who this is his real life. And I almost spoiled it. I was going to say we might see him, but that ending was interesting. I will say that, like, hi guys. But, other than that, I'm very happy that I went to go see it in theaters.
Yeah, definitely.
It reminded me of something that I would have saw in the 90s, the way it's filmed, the graininess, the texture of the film. It really takes you back there. And it's something that's very nostalgic for us that grew up in the 90s. So I think that's why maybe it hit a little bit harder for us. But overall, really enjoyed it.
I want to shout out the guy who played his best friend. He is an actual UFC fighter. He's not an actor.
And he's the real friend.
Huh?
Right? He's the real
friend.
I don't know
is he the real friend? No, I don't. He's not Mark Coleman. His name is Ryan Bader. So he's a current. No. He's a current UFC fighter. And he did an incredible job. To me, for the fact that he's not an actor and this is like maybe his first role, that scene that he has with Mark Kerr in the hospital, I was blown away for someone that's not an actor.
Yeah, I completely agree. And in my mind, I thought it was the real person, but I knew it was a real UFC fighter. And
Yeah.
so when from behind those eyes watching his performance, I'm like, this guy hasn't acted before. Like, this is driving a lot of the movie sometimes is his acting alone and his reactions and his interviews to the people in Japan, and that stuff was driving the movie. I'm like, this guy hasn't even acted before, and he is just absolutely crushing it.
Yeah.
It felt real. You know what I mean? Sorry, my
Felt
light
real.
is like getting messed up and now I'm like getting washed out. But no, that's a great point. That's a great point. So I would highly recommend it. At least, if you're not going to go to the theaters when it comes out, probably to HBO Max, because I think they have an A24 deal. Definitely see it. Those performances are hands down some of the best of 2025, which says a lot. And we might get into some 2025 movies in Goat or No.
Ooh.
But let's get into some of the stuff I want to get into. Before we get into the fun stuff, unfortunately, sometimes in Hollywood, we have goats of the industry that pass away very suddenly. And so for a minute, I do want to take a time to address and honor the passing of the legendary Diane Keaton. This was a huge surprise to me yesterday. I love Diane Keaton. She is one of the all-time GOAT actresses, I would say, whether it is Something's Gotta Give, Annie Hall, Godfather, even down to like The Family Stone, which is like an obscure Christmas movie that my wife loves that showed me like last year. She just has this presence where she absolutely crushes it. And she plays this fine line of like the wholesome woman who's also fearless in her own right and kind of a badass, but also has a heart of gold and is just the girl next door kind of vibes, and just plays that line so well. And Father of the Bride too, my bad. And so, the list goes on and on, which is why in 79 is just so young. So you have to mention the greats. Obviously, it's not how you want to start a show, but if you take it in a positive way, we are here to love movies, TV, comic books, and what better to honor one of the greats in some of the best movies that we've seen in history. So that is my, love for Diane Keaton. What about you, brother?
What was special about, obviously it's sad that she passed away, but what was special about the response was so many people telling so many stories about her and how she, just like what the outfit she's wearing right now, trailblazing and wearing these things when women weren't really wearing them in movies, and setting fashion trends for women to wear movies, to feel confident in themselves and not have to like dress super sexy all the time, kind of carving a path for women to have a different kind of role. That girl next door that's not dumb. Because sometimes that was kind of what was happening. Like, it would be the dumb girl next door who fall for anything the man does. She wasn't that.
She
wasn't that either. Yeah, no, they didn't. Like, I remember Something's Gotta Give. When you brought that up, I was like, I remember watching that movie and loving her and Jack Nicholson in that film. And even something like Manhattan, or, you know what I mean? Like, she just was really good at playing these roles where she was very relatable, but still feisty. And I think that she was one of the early ones to do that without getting raunchy and opening up the doors so that you didn't have to be Sandra Bullock and be like the girl that's always feisty all the time. And you didn't have to be Julia Roberts where you had to kind of be flowery a lot of the time. She was kind of that in between and trailblaze.
Yeah.
So.
And I think she evolved as she got older in her career, and she really showed that like rom-coms can be about women in their 50s and their 60s. Like, love doesn't just stop once you get past 30, and she really like honed in on that. And then she did, darker roles in a sense, like the young Pope. She starred in The Young Pope with Jude Law on HBO, which was really good. And then, these powerful like togetherness of women movies like The First Wives Club and Book Club. And she never really stopped evolving as an actress in the game. And that was just something that people really talked about. And then on top of that, like you were saying, all these people came out of the woodworks and just showed like that she was a mentor for young women, female actresses coming up themselves. And there's all these women that came out that said, you know, when I was coming up, like Reese Witherspoon and Sarah Paulson, that Diane Keaton was there for me to show me the ropes and show me what to be careful of and what not to do and what to do that she didn't get to do in her respective career. And so she really became that mentor for the next people up. And that is something that needs to be recognized, because we need more people that look out for the next people up, not just for themselves. And that's really what she embodied.
Yeah, and I think that's super important to celebrate people like that, because 100%. A lot of times we celebrate the selfish artists all the time, the people who just strive to be the best all the time and don't pass back down. So for someone that was one of the best, but also still had time to usher the next best, that's dope.
100%, 100%. So Diane Keaton, you're getting me in my book club phase with my white wine. So this one is for you, girl. And
gotta get the
you will be
out.
I know you will be greatly missed.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, with that down, I want to get into this. So as you know, this weekend was New York Comic-Con, one of the biggest Comic-Cons in the nation. And with that, we have the best tidbits that come out of Comic-Con, and we cannot wait to get into it. So first up, we're going to go over Marvel's massive NY Comic-Con reveals. And boy, do we got some good ones. So let's get into it. This comes to us from the Direct. They say Marvel Studios is ready to break the internet at New York Comic-Con, and new announcement and reveals for the MCU have just been revealed. 2020-25 was a jam-packed year for Marvel Studios on the big and small screen, as over half a dozen new projects debuted in theaters and on Disney Plus. The franchise will continue its Phase 6 slate in 2026, and now fans are anxious to hear more about what the successful comic book movie franchise has in store for us next. Well, Marvel Studios has started its Up Next from Marvel Television and Marvel Animation panel at New York Comic-Con this past Saturday. First up, we have Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2. Head of Marvel TV and Animation, Brad Winderbaum, took to the stage of NYCC to discuss Season 2 of Marvel Animation's Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. The show will return to Disney Plus in fall of 2026 for new episodes, confirming this specific release time frame for the first time. Season 2 will pick up right where Season 1 left off, with a major focus on Peter Parker's lore and history. Fans will remember Season 1 ending with the reveal that his father, Richard Parker, was alive and in jail as Aunt May paid him a visit. There will also be more action with symbiotes after the season ended with a tease for Venom. Attendees saw the first publicly released footage for Season 2, which confirmed Charlie Cox's return as the animated variant of Matt Murdock's Daredevil. Additionally, Season 2 will deliver the MCU's first adaptation of Gwen Stacy. As Peter asks the character, "What do I call you?" she responds with a simple Gwen, confirming the classic love interest inclusion in the new season when they showed first footage. The footage also included a new look at Otto Octavius, better known to fans as our boy Doc Ock, and the alien symbiote known as Venom. Peter Parker returns to Oscorp and finds the symbiote before striking a deal with Norman Osborn. The trailer closes with Robbie Robertson falling off a roof a la Gwen Stacy in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it cuts off right before Spider-Man catches him. In this section, Winderbaum hyped up Venom by telling the audiences fans of Venom should get extremely excited. Zach, that is a lot for, in my opinion, one of the best animated shows that debuted this past year. I want to ask you, what do you think about these reveals for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2? And does this get you excited?
So I have a confession to make. I haven't watched Season 1.
Sorry. You will
but
absolutely love it. But
yeah.
how does this sound in general? And does this get you even hyped to go and watch Season 1 to get into it finally?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big, like, Spider-Man's my favorite superhero. So the fact that I haven't watched it yet is crazy. But I'm going to check it out. It gets me excited. Anytime you like bring Gwen into the situation, the fact that they're doing the Gwen death, teasing it with a different character is really cool, because we don't want you to repeat that over and over. Pick you out. And and also Venom, is making a resurgence. The Venom movies were very successful financially. They also have their very big fan base. So there are people out there that love that character, that version of that character, that might see the animated version and go check that out. Seth Rogen is doing a Venom movie. So I love this. Yeah, he's doing a Venom R-rated animated Venom movie. Expect that laugh to come out of Venom. And also, like, Venom was in Spider-Man 2, the video game. So, like, I'm happy to see one of his nemesis kind of get the ball rolling, because it's been a long time since we saw him on TV or in film. So the Venom movies, I'm down.
I do want to give you a little bit of insight about Season 1. So when they say Venom was teased at the very end, that was all well and good. But from the very beginning, he fights a symbiote monster in the vein of Venom. So it kind of, not Venom itself, like Eddie Brock, that story, but the symbiote has been an ongoing theme a little bit from the beginning of Season 1. And so it seems like they've been dropping these little Easter eggs that will get us really excited for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2 to finally introduce the Venom that we all know and love. And so I think you're right in the sense that Venom on itself is such a big pop culture icon. The symbol, the black suit, the movies helped. Spider-Man 3 didn't. But in the animated iterations of it. And so at this point, and then of course the comic book iterations, at this point, Venom is one of the most notorious Spider-Man villains that we've seen. And when you see this animated series, you'll see that they take Spider-Man very seriously. This show, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, is not made for just kids. There is dark, heavy adult themes that will ripple through the entire multiverse.
Ooh. And this version of the character is a variant of the one that we know from the movies, right? Is that what's going on?
So from the very beginning in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, you see that this is actually a mirrored image of Earth 616. That instead of Tony going to Peter's house, it's Norman going to Peter's house on the couch. With the song, from the intro of Spider-Man in Civil War. Same song when he walks into the apartment and sees Norman Osborn on his couch, who offers him an internship. Everything is slightly changed from Earth 616 to give this fresh new feel that also feels familiar at the same time.
Gotcha.
Very, very cool. Especially for some animation, I love that they're taking the animation seriously, as they should, because animation does not get enough love. In the reveals that this bad boy had, I mean, I want to tell you, there is a Tombstone arc that is so sick from the beginning, where you see him not at all what he's going to become, to closer to what we know in the comics. It's just such great storytelling and such great character depth that it does not feel like you're watching something animated. It feels lived in and it feels real.
Is Gwen teased in this first season?
No.
No, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they're getting ready. No, she actually has a friend who crap, I forgot the friend. She's an Asian woman.
I think I've
Who's
seen her character design.
And originally they had her written as Jessica Jones as one of her best friends, and they changed it last minute. Yeah,
Gotcha.
she's really good in it.
I wonder why they did that, because Jessica Jones is usually really close to Peter Parker in the comics, so it'd have been interesting to keep that in.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll ask them. No. All right. Next on the docket, we have X-Men 97 season 2.
Yes,
X-Men
I did.
97. What?
Season 1 I did watch, so I'm
Very good. Very good. X-Men 97 executive producers Eric and Julia Leewald, who are married, very beautiful, showrunners and writers on the X-Men animated series, took to the stage, the original series, took to the stage with Davis to tease what's coming for the animated Mutant series. They kicked off the panel by confirming season 3 is in development before telling the crowd that season 2 tees up season 3 in a massive way. The season is also confirmed to come to Disney Plus in summer of 2026. In the new trailer for season 2, which has leaked online, fans see footage of Apocalypse, who will be one of the main villains for these new episodes. The X-Men are confirmed to be scattered across the past and future as they look to get back to their time period in the 1990s, which is described by Bishop in the trailer. Jean Grey and Scott Summers' son, Nathan Summers, has grown into a teenager as well in the past. And so there is a lot of dynamics and a lot of fun stuff that they're going to get into in season 2. I want to ask you, Zach, from what you hear from what they're teasing and just from how season 1 was, how excited are you about season 2? And are you okay with it being kind of deeper into 2026, more into the summer?
It's interesting. I don't know if I feel like the X-Men show is a summer show,
Right.
but I think they believe in it because it did really well in terms of like the fan base.
Oh, yeah.
And I think so many people talked about it, and people are going to be so excited for season 2 and telling casuals and everybody about it because season 1 was so good that I think there's going to be an uptick for season 2, similar to like what happened with Invincible. Invincible season 1 didn't like hit it out of the park, but then people hyped it up, and then season 2,
like 3 years between.
yeah, and then season 2 got up onto the charting because everybody that didn't watch season 1 at first got into season 2. So I think that's going to happen with X-Men 97, and I also like the details about it because the season 1 was such a specific story. Right. And I think they did a really good job telling a beginning, middle, and end, and I don't want them to kind of like stretch that out too much. So I like that Apocalypse is going to be such a big part of it. We have a new setting. We're going to be telling a fresher story that has ripple effects from season 1. So I'm really excited.
I completely agree. And, unfortunately, they did not collect people's phones. And so I did watch the trailer for X-Men 97 season 2. And I have to say, this bad boy looks really good, where the X-Men after season 1 finale are scattered throughout time. Wolverine and Morph appear to have formed an alliance with Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike in the present, while we also get to see Polaris, Danger, and X-Factor. Apocalypse also gets plenty of spotlight. No surprise when he's set to be the main antagonist. And then, as previously mentioned, Cyclops and Jean Grey are shown in costumes that closely resemble their 2000s outfits from the Grant Morrison run New X-Men. And so what's really interesting with the second season is the fact that Bo DeMayo is no longer serving as head writer and showrunner.
Yeah.
However, many of his ideas have reportedly made it into season 2, and it won't be until season 3 where we really feel the missingness of Bo DeMayo. Whether, Matthew Chauncey can take this series to the same heights is still to be seen. So I'm really excited. And we've heard a little bit from Marvel Television boss Brad Winterbaum, who talked to Entertainment Weekly and said, we've talked about this before, and I'm very grateful to Bo. We launched this series together. I think he did an excellent job. Frankly, I don't really look at it or read anything into it, so I don't really know what people are talking about the quality of the show dipping at all. When asked about the possibility that Gambit will be one of the Apocalypse's horsemen, Death, he said, that tease certainly matters, and Apocalypse is a big part of season 2. And that's all he gave for that. So all I can say is X-Men 97 is the best animated thing that Marvel has done since Disney has bought Marvel. It is hands down every little bit of what the original X-Men animated series was and more. And I cannot wait for season 2. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, I agree. And I gotta say, yes, they're taking both ideas, but taking someone's ideas and executing it like they would is two very different things.
Yes, I totally agree. But that writer's room is not a one-man show. So I really hope this allowed other writers to step up and show them that they are in love with this X-Men lore as much as Bo was. So only time will tell. Let us know. Are you guys excited to see X-Men 97 next summer? Drop a comment below. All right, guys. The next topic that we're going to talk about that they announced is Daredevil Born Again Season 2, baby. Marvel Studios moved from animation to live action for new information on Daredevil Born Again Season 2, which is confirmed to debut on Disney Plus in March 2026. Fans got to see the first trailer for the new season, which offered plenty of details about the story. Stars Charlie Cox and Kristen Ritter, as seen above, made appearances on stage to uproarious crowd. Karen Page and Matt Murdock rekindled their romantic relationship they built during the original Daredevil series on Netflix, getting milkshakes in a diner and giving off romantic tension. Matt is also attacked by something sonic in nature, they teased. Other shots highlighted Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin boxing in a gym. He appears to have an underground prison similar to what fans saw at the end of season 1. There is also likely a flashback look at Eldon Henson's Foggy Nelson with long hair after his tragic passing in season 1. Ritter's Jessica Jones shows up on screen in her first action for Marvel Studios since Jessica Jones season 3 wrapped up in 2019. Ritter also called it surreal to return to the MCU feeling as if no time passed at all. Davis also discussed assembling a team to defend New York City, teasing a potential Defenders reunion after Netflix's Defenders saga ended in 2019. Cox seemed to agree with this sentiment, but fans will still wait for characters like Luke Cage or Iron Fist to join the mix. Footage also included Wilson Bethel as Bullseye, but he was not wearing the costume he used in season 1. Did you see Daredevil Born Again season 1?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Woo! Thank God. What do you think about these tidbits they gave of the trailer that premiered at New York Comic Con? And does this give you any excitement about season 2 of Daredevil Born Again?
Yeah, it definitely does. I think season 1 is a mixed bag because if, obviously they're working on it and it's a mix of what they scrapped versus what they want to continue. And now the people who continued, where I think the show got better in the second half of it, I think those people are going to do that for the whole season now. And I'm excited for this show to feel like on the level of the original Netflix series in terms of like elevated superhero content. Bringing back Jessica Jones, exploring Kingpin going back into full villain mode and having this underground dungeon sounds interesting because I always thought that the underground dungeon that they showed in season 1 was interesting, but even going further for them to have another one and it maybe be even darker, I think it would be really interesting. I really want the Kingpin character to evolve past kind of where we are right now. It feels like he's kind of spinning in circles. I want him to move a little further, either go full villain or become reformed. So I'm excited to see that, and especially I love Jessica Jones series, so I'm excited to see her get integrated, and hopefully eventually we get a Luke Cage cameo. Hopefully.
I really hope so. But I think the most important thing, like you said, is that Daredevil Born Again season 2 feels consistent with what we grew to love from the Daredevil Netflix series. Of course, the first season had to be Frankenstein a little bit, filming it for 6 to 7 weeks, scrapping it, going back to basics, bringing in the elements from the Netflix series back into it, and then starting again, which can really make your season disjointed. I, for one, love the first season of Born Again for what they had to go through and the results that happened. I thought they did a fantastic job. The scenes between Daredevil and Punisher, once again, some of the best scenes we've seen in any comic book content thus far. The relationship that they have, the juxtaposition of Punisher and Daredevil, is the epitome of what it means to be a hero and where that line is and what it means when you cross it. And the fact that we had scenes where they fully get to talk about this again, like the rooftop scene, made the season that much better. And I hope we get more of that in season 2.
Yep.
On top of that, it has come out recently from Brad Winderbaum, who is the bomb, that there might be more connection between Daredevil Born Again and Spider-Man Brand New Day than we thought. Marvel's head of television and animation, the Brad Winderbaum, recently confirmed that there will be some connectivity between the upcoming second season of Daredevil Born Again and Spider-Man Brand New Day. But fans are hoping to see the Man Without Fear in the next Spidey movie. And hopefully that is what we're getting. Winderbaum revealed that he has been in contact with the Brand New Day team to ensure that there is coherence between both projects during a recent interview with EW. He says, "We are communicating a lot with the team on Spider-Man Brand New Day to make sure that there's coherence there. We don't want to spoil anything, but it very much exists in the same world and it is important. We're in a shared universe together, but I would say just the Daredevil comic books, the Punisher comic books, depicted a certain tone in an idea of New York in a different way than Spider-Man's, but they will both exist in the same universe. It's similar. Everything lines up and the impacts are felt, but we are able to tell different stories. I think everything will go in order. Daredevil season 2 comes out before Spider-Man. And like I said, there's a coherence there. They're part of the world, but I wouldn't put too much faith in a big, strong narrative connection." What do you think about these comments? And what do you think from these comments that means for Spider-Man Brand New Day, as you do know, which will feature the Punisher heavily?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Based on what you just said, I feel like he said a bunch of nothing. I do feel like he said a bunch of nothing. I feel like I feel like it's a headline for the article to say Born Again will be important for Brand New Day. So now people are like, oh, I got to watch Born Again now. And then when you watch Born Again, you're like, stuff happens. Like, oh, I'm excited to see these threads move on to the Brand New Day. And the Brand New Day comes and they don't really touch on it at all. He said, like, yeah, we're in the same world, which obviously we know that already. We know that Daredevil's in the MCU.
New York's. It's like, okay, so what are you saying? That we're in the same world or it's different? Like,
we don't even know where in New York Spider-Man is anymore. And obviously Hell's Kitchen is different from where Spider-Man usually travels to. And then also is like, then you said don't bank on too much narrative connection. So then when you say that, I'm like, okay, then why would I get hyped that I'm gonna see him swing by a building that's in Born Again?
Get hype or don't get hype? You know, like, what are you telling us here?
Yeah, what are you telling us? I'm happy that they're communicating, right? Because that's been an issue in the DCU, the MCU in the past, where directors are not communicating with the other directors. So then let's say if we set certain rules of New York in Born Again, and then Spider-Man does come out and he just does like it's a different mayor, a different, you know what I mean? Like Kingpin is not the mayor anymore, and he casts somebody else. That's where I think, yeah.
With season 1 of Daredevil Born Again, we thought there might have been some ramifications that will lead into Thunderbolts, which also heavily takes place in New York. There is no mention of the events that happened in Daredevil, of Kingpin being mayor, or anything like that at all. So to your point, they already did something similar, and once it went to the movies, there was no mention about anything that happened in that show in New York again. So you're kind of messing with our hopes, and also the history that has come thus far, where you've teased it and nothing came to fruition.
I'll say a little devil advocate there. Thunderbolts never explicitly is. We don't know if that's before Born Again or after Born Again. That's the only cope I'll give them. I think for Brent Winterbaum to say Born Again happens right before Brand New Day, it's coming out first, and it happens right before Brand New Day. I think the fact that they're pointing it out makes it like, okay, things that are set in Born Again and what's set up in that version of New York has to be consistent with Spider-Man. Even if it's a Sony production, it's still within the MCU. Thunderbolts I can give a pass because the MCU's timeline is, I don't know, where's what. So Thunderbolts could have happened before Daredevil, even though it came out after Daredevil. But them specifically saying Brand New Day comes out after Born Again, and it leads right into it. Now I'm looking for stuff now.
No, I totally agree. But only time will tell. Let us know what you guys think. Does this excite you about Daredevil Born Again Season 2? Were you kind of a little on the fence when it came to Season 1 and a little weary about Season 2? Drop a comment below and let us know what you think. All right, guys. After that, we got some great first looks at the next MCU TV series that is coming out on Disney Plus, and that is our boy, the Wonder Man. And we got some great tidbits from them. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, one of the most underrated actors in the game right now, will play Simon Williams, and Sir Ben Kingsley is back as Trevor Slattery. They got their moment to shine at Marvel Studios NYCC 2025 to discuss their work on the upcoming Wonder Man series. After the confirmation that it was delayed until 2026, a day prior, the show is now set to arrive with a full 8-episode drop on Disney Plus on January 27, 2026. Marvel Studios shared the first official poster for the Wonder Man series, which can, using a magazine printing for The Hollywood Reporter, the front page teases the idea of superhero fatigue as its cover story, while using an outline of a red-caped hero on the cover image. Marvel Studios also released the first official trailer for Wonder Man, which we're about to watch right now. Should we get into it?
Let's get into it, man.
Let's do it, my friend. Let's dance. Put on. No, let's watch it. Do a watch. Let me see. Interesting. I haven't done a dual watch in so long. I'm like,
how do I set this up?
Yeah, how do I set this up? I know what I'll do. I'll just put it right here for us, okay?
Okay.
I mean, I'm so excited for Wonder Man. One thing that I think is very true that I already mentioned is Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is a very underrated actor.
Yeah.
And we've obviously seen him in a lot of stuff that we love, like when it comes to, the Watchmen series and stuff like that. But and then obviously, Aquaman and all that stuff. But I really think, Candyman. But I really think this is going to be his time to really shine and show his acting chops. Let's take a look and see what we're getting into when it comes to this show. Let me know if you cannot hear it, okay?
The entertainment world is stuck when internationally celebrated and reclusive filmmaker Von Kovac sprung out of retirement to sign on for a remake of Wonder Man. Mr. Von Kovac, could you tell us more?
Everyone is tired of superheroes. There is an opportunity
DC crossover?
to remake a whole genre of storytelling.
Have you thought about casting?
So, what's this big audition you were talking about?
It's a huge opportunity. I'm auditioning for Wonder Man.
The way he said it, Wonder Man.
In this movie.
Sorry, you crazy.
I was born to play this character.
Are you serious? Boo, they are already talking to Leo.
Leo. It's always Leo in talks with everything.
Always everyone's first choice.
You just gotta go out there and crush it.
What's wrong?
I'm trying to come up with a backstory for the character.
Well, trust the words. Just show up and say them.
That's not my process.
I love that they're
Well,
friends.
the process can go blow
That
spider.
is so random. Like, oh, we met in acting school. You know, like,
in there, bro.
Where have I seen him before?
Pretty sure he used to be a terrorist.
he was.
You can slate whenever you're ready.
Simon Williams, reading for Wonder Man.
Trying to get that Jean jacket.
Listen to me, Simon. The callback is happening now. Just be normal.
Fallon is great.
The breakdown is go
Even
back.
though everything was better on Yaya.
Come in. Mr. Kovac will meet you in the living room.
So it's like Warner Herzog or something like that.
So you are here
Yeah.
with Kovac?
Director.
Hello, everyone. I want to explore the place between fiction and non-fiction.
That's tight.
We are going to make the last movie on Earth. No one will have the balls to make another. And action!
Any news from Von Kovac?
There is news you'll be the first to know, unless you call me
jacked.
again, in which case I will never tell you.
I love that. Give us all 8. Let us binge it. You know what I mean?
Feels like
Let us-
Echo. Like, you know how they dropped all the episodes of Echo
Yeah. I hope not. That
in
scares me.
January.
That scares me a little bit. I like parts of Echo, but overall, I thought it had a lot of issues, to be honest. But
That's fair.
I feel like with this show, Wonder Man, we are getting something that we haven't seen, just like with WandaVision, where
Yeah.
this is not just like She-Hulk, it's also a comedy, but it's also a superhero, and there's also CGI. This is straight up a comedy about an actor struggling in Hollywood, trying to make it, trying to get a breakout role, and it just happens to be the Wonder Man role. And that's something that we have never seen in the MCU
No.
before. And that's why I have more faith that dropping these 8 episodes out is more in the vein of like a show they would drop on Netflix, as opposed to a weekly show like Daredevil, because it hits different when you're able to be with this person through the journey at your own pace. That's my hope.
I agree. And Kenny Sparks said in the chat, the most interesting about this, that there's nothing super about it. The trailer is so intriguing, so fun to watch, and you forget that it's an MCU project, which I think is really interesting. Because this feels like Marvel's The Studio, the Seth Rogen show. This feels like their version. This is like if that was inside of the MCU.
I hope so.
I think there's a lot of meta. There's a lot. I think there's already a lot of meta stuff in the trailer. The fact that he said we're looking at Leo, because there's a whole joke ever since Christian Bale said, they always go for Leo first, and then if he says no, then everyone else has a chance. So them just doing that makes me feel like we're going to get a lot of meta Hollywood jokes, which I think makes a lot of people who love Hollywood love this show, and then they're going to find a way to tie it into the super part of it.
I that's my hope too. I hope there's a scene where we see on the lawn someone is practicing his lines for the Iron Man movie, and it zooms out and it's Tom Cruise.
Oh, don't do that.
And it's like,
now this don't happen.
He's up for the role of Tony Stark in the Iron Man movie. Hella meta in the MCU universe. Like, what better way to do it?
I love that. Or like we see the the musical, the Steve Rogers musical, like they're doing a part 2 to it or something like that from the Hawkeye show.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that. Like little things like that. Just kind of touching on the difficulties of being an actor and trying to get roles. Should be a very interesting.
I totally agree. And I would love also, you know how like Wicked is really big, that now they're making Rogers the musical a movie, you know, like that, like in what you were saying. Yeah. So they're like, oh my God, I'm up for like Rogers the musical, the movie, you know, like, so there's just so much you can play with, and it's time to make fun of yourself in the MCU. And what better way to do it through the eyes of an actor who is just overshadowed by the stars in this universe, which are real heroes. Those are the stars in this universe. You know, Leo might be the biggest actor, idea. But he ain't bigger than Iron Man in this universe.
That's perfect. And Kenny Sparks, did you see the directors for each episode? They posted it.
No, I did not see it.
So episode 1 and 2 is going to be directed by Destin Daniel Cretton.
Okay, not Evan Bernstein.
Shang-Chi and Spider-Man, Brand New Day, obviously.
Yeah, he's showrunner.
The guy who, but he's going to be directing the first 2 episodes. The guy who did Shrinking is directing the first 3 and 4. The lady who did Poker Face is doing 5 and 6, and then the person who did Insecure is doing the last couple. So I think that's going to be really interesting.
This is probably one of the most stacked directors lists that I've seen in a Disney Plus project since probably the people that they get for the Star Wars, like Ahsoka,
like Mando.
And Mando. Thank you. And Mando, that director's roundtable was just incredible. This feels like that, but with comedy, and they get it right. The best thing about comedies today, like with Shrinking, like with the studio, is that in the comedy, there's always some tragedy. There's always some, like the hope that you will be as big as you thought you could be, that you want to see your potential through, that you know there's a star in there if someone would just give you a chance. And to see someone go through that and fail time and time again and finally get this role, and then realizing it might not be the role that he thought it was going to be. Exactly. That is something that can be truly special. And when I say like WandaVision, it's because WandaVision as a superhero bends the genre in such a way that you could never see me coming. That was my Trevor Slattery impression right there.
And I'll say Agatha All Along as well bends the genre as well. Kind of being like a witchy adventure and not really a stereotypical superhero, like good versus evil.
100%. 100%. And now that you've mentioned it, I want you guys to drop a comment below and let us know what you think. Are you excited for Wonder Man? Does dropping all eight episodes at one time make you a little bit hesitant? Let us know what you think. But Zach just said a great transition. And as we know, some of the best shows on Disney Plus when it comes to the MCU is WandaVision and Agatha in the past 4 years. Yeah. But we have a show coming out that is going to conclude this trilogy that we've seen thus far. And we got some great tidbits at New York Comic-Con for Vision Quest. To close off the Marvel Animation and Marvel Television panel, Winderbaum and Davis brought up Vision star Paul Bettany to share new information on Vision Quest, including confirming the show's title. This will mark the third and final chapter in the memorable MCU trilogy, arguably the best, that kicked off with WandaVision and led into Agatha All Along. Bettany discussed the show by detailing how Red Vision gives White Vision all of his memories, including everything that happened in Wanda Maximoff's Hex during 2021's WandaVision. However, White Vision struggles to connect with those memories and lacks the emotions or feelings associated with them. According to Bettany, White Vision's journey through this show is trying to connect with those memories. A short trailer then revealed many of the show's new cast members who play human forms of some of the MCU's most notable AI systems. Henry Lewis plays Dume, D-U-M-E, from the Iron Man saga. Jonathan Sayer portrays You. Orla Brady embraces the role of Friday, and Emily Hampshire joins the show as Edith from Spider-Man Far From Home. Additionally, James Darcy makes his grand return to the MCU as Jarvis, first playing the role in both seasons of Agent Carter before returning in Avengers Endgame. Finally, our boy James Spader is back in the Ultron metal seat on his first MCU project since debuting in Avengers Age of Ultron. The footage concluded with a quick look at Rurid Molika on a CCTV recording where he is identified as Thomas Shepard. Fans will recognize him as the reincarnated version of Tommy Maximoff, also known as Speed, Billy Maximoff's twin brother and Wanda's other son. A full description of WandaVision footage can be found deeper in the direct if you guys want to check it out. While Vision Quest will still confirm its release later on, it is to be said that it will arrive on Disney Plus sometime in 2026. Well, my friend, we are here. We are at the conclusion of the WandaVision trilogy, arguably the best thing that the MCU has done on Disney Plus thus far. What do you think about these details? And what do you think about using Vision Quest to cap off this amazing trilogy that we've seen?
I am
you know,
irrationally excited about this show. Irrationally. Because WandaVision is still my favorite MCU show. Well,
Hands
favorite Disney Plus MCU show. Agatha All Along, I absolutely loved. I went to that show just like, I don't want to watch this, and I ended up loving it.
Happily
surprised the crap out of me.
But how can we be when it's Jack Schaefer?
Jack Schaefer, just so good. And Vision Quest is a storyline from the West Coast Avengers that deals with similar things. Him struggling with his memories, him struggling with the finding out what his children really are. We just got announced that Speed is going to be in it, so that dynamic is going to be there. I love when the MCU takes things from the comics and adapts them in the MCU. I feel like a lot of times they've been trying to do these original stories in the MCU that has nothing to do with the comics, and I feel like you lose the plot when you do that, literally. So the fact that we are getting the actual Vision Quest, but obviously changed to fit within the MCU, I think is going to work really well. I love that we're getting all the AI brought to like life in real life in here. That's so cool. Kevin Spader is very underrated. His performance in the MCU as Ultron, he did a phenomenal job bringing that character to life.
Yeah,
in Age of
Ultron too.
Yeah. Oh yes.
That's part about
job.
What If.
Yeah,
it really showed why you guys should take Ultron more seriously. And it's completely, it might not be, I think it's his voice doing it, James Spader, but it shows you how powerful James Spader's unique take on Ultron and his voice is. It just amplified how good he really was in Ultron, and he really didn't get the love that he deserved at the time when Age of Ultron dropped.
Yeah, and obviously there's many different reasons. It's not of the quality of the first Avengers. I still think it's a great film, but just seeing him be able to be like show his face now and give a similar performance while being the face of it, I'm really excited for him to do that and see that dynamic with Paul Bettany, like without all the green screen and the dots and stuff like that. I think that's gonna be really dope.
Yeah, we are in for a very heady, hard sci-fi series that we have been clamoring for the MCU, and the man that will take us there, Terry Matalas, is the man that can do it. He is so good. He is one of my favorites. Are you ready for this? My boy has done arguably the best season of Star Trek Picard. He also did one of my favorite sci-fi shows of all time, 12 Monkeys,
Oh yeah.
which Emily Hampshire is in. So he brought his girl from that show to Vision Quest, which I cannot wait to see. She is an underrated actor. She is so good. She took on the Brad Pitt role, if you will, for the TV series, played it fantastically. On top of that, she's in Schitt's Creek as well. So the fact that Terry Matalas is really like taking what he learned in these other sci-fi shows. I mean, the dude worked on Star Trek Enterprise. He has been in the game of sci-fi on television for so long, and everything that he's learned all the step away along the way has culminated into Vision Quest. So I really think we are in for a treat because this man knows hard sci-fi, and to inject that into the MCU and conclude this epic trilogy, there's no one better that can do it. So I am very excited for not only the people that he casted, but the people behind the scenes that are on board for this project are going to really take this to new heights and conclude the trilogy of WandaVision in a way that we never thought was possible.
Yeah, and WandaVision was more Wanda than Vision, right?
Right.
He was part of it, but I think it was more Wanda. I'm excited for him to finally get more fleshed out and do things. And we might end up getting there's a comic book, award-winning comic book where he builds a family. We might end up getting to see his family in here. I think her name is Viz, who ends up joining the Young Avengers / Champions.
The daughter, right? She's like a robot.
Yeah, the daughter. Yeah, she ends up becoming a real construct and teams with Kamala and other characters and becomes like a Young Avenger. So I would love to see that tied in, like Speed and her, like I guess technically brother and sister. Gotta go off and do things together, stepbrother, stepsister, and do things together. I think there's a lot of exciting things that can come out of this show. I just hope that they give it the time and the budget because it's going to be heavily sci-fi, like you said. So it's going to be a lot of VFX and CGI.
I totally agree. I think if done right, we are in for another surprise treat, just like Agatha All Along, which, to your point, Agatha All Along closely tied to Wanda and less to Vision. So it's really about time for Vision to have his point of view, his plight, what he's gone through, not from the side of the Scarlet Witch. And I think Paul Bettany, being the actor that he is the man to really drive this trilogy home. So I know we've hyped it up a lot, but it's for a good reason. And for some reason, I feel like we're not wrong.
I feel like all the shows next year are about to be bangers. This, Wonder Man. And I wonder if Wonder Man will tie into all this too, because in the comics, Wonder Man is in a relationship with the Scarlet Witch, and he gets into beef with Vision. So I can see all these characters kind of interacting with each other eventually.
I hope so. I really hope so. Well, you guys, let us know what you think. That will wrap it up for Marvel's massive New York Comic-Con reveal. Did you get excited about the things that are coming? Do you find that maybe they're too far out of them and you want them now? That's okay. Drop a comment below and let us know what you think. All right, guys. We got a lot more stuff to get into, but we have a word from our I wish we had sponsors. Sponsors? One day that's going to be real and you're going to be like, oh, I thought you were joking this time, but no, you're not. No, we got
from BetterHelp.
Our segment, Goat or Nope. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Goat.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Or Nope. All right, my friend, like I said, we got some stumpers, and I'm about to stump you right now, right out the gate. Here we go. What is the GOAT of these two movies, arguably the best horror films of 2025? Sinners versus Weapons. You got to choose, brother.
Look. I said this last time you did this. When I go to wherever you live, I'm not gonna say out loud. We gonna fight because you're not nice.
Come up behind me.
Yeah, just a swift elbow to the back of the head. No, I'm joking.
Kind of.
This is not. I love both of these films. It's not stumping me too hard though, because Sinners is my number 2 film of the year, while Weapons is number 6. So it's Sinners.
Okay. Why is that?
I think Sinners just has like a deeper cultural effect on me than Weapons. Weapons is a great, fun story, but it doesn't have a lot of depth to what's going on there. While Sinners does something that I haven't seen before with the music and the way they tackle vampires, and I forget what Kenny Sparks said, my black card is on the line if I don't pick Sinners. And the dual performance by Michael B. Jordan, and just that barn scene where Miles Keaton sings. It's like there's nothing in Weapons, as much as I love that movie, that tops that.
Song. Not that song that he sings, but like in the car, which is like one of the most beautiful parts. But the other song I listened to so much, like for the first time in a long time.
Oh,
it's like I'm like crying because that movie came out the day before my wife and I's birthday. We had the same birthday. And I played that album in the car when we were in Sonoma wine tasting, like the whole weekend. I played the Sinners album, just vibing to it with the windows down.
That's perfect.
Out. No, I didn't get my guitar. I was just Miles. No, I wasn't Miles. I wish. That voice is unmatched. This is a very hard one for me because I really love these two movies. I think it contributed to the tapestry of great theater going in 2025 in a big bad way. I don't have a black card, so it won't, can't have something that won't, can't get revoked if you don't have it. But how I view Sinners, this is beyond a horror movie. Mm-hmm. This is an extremely important movie to Black people in America, to people of color in America. There is something way deeper than what we're seeing on the surface about twins, about vampires, about Irish people. You know what I mean? There's so many layers to this that Ryan Coogler does it in a way that is so digestible for a general audience that when you watch it time and time again, you're going to find these hidden meanings that make this movie more important than just for the genre of horror. And for that reason alone, which is very similar to you in the opposite way, I do have to go with Weapons, because I do believe that Weapons, while it may have some themes related to the times we live in now, to children, blah, 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 I do believe it is more of a straight horror movie that doesn't have much deeper meanings when it comes to Sinners. So for me to just say that Sinners was the best horror movie of 2025 between these two, feel like, and no knock on you, does a disservice to how good of a film Sinners is beyond the genre of horror, if that makes sense.
No, totally makes sense.
So with that being said,
both are scary.
100%. 100%. I mean, damn, I mean, would I have Haley bite me? That's But as a straight horror movie, I do believe Weapons takes the cake. It has the voiceover of the children. When you have child in a horror movie, it just elevates it even more and makes it scarier. When I went to the bathroom, I went down the stairs like this and got a good laugh from the audience. It was just such a great horror film that I think people will look back at this movie in the horror genre and say that Weapons is a classic of this time, and it will reverberate through the years when it comes to the genre of horror. And that's why I think Weapons is the better GOAT horror film.
Gotcha.
This was hard. I don't want to get my, my temporary black card right now. I just got to take it. All right. On top of that, give it the next, staying in the horror element, I want to ask you this. Which is the better horror modern day saga the Final Destination saga or the Scream saga?
Holy, this one is hard. It's hard because I was gonna say Scream birthed some very slasher tropes, but I feel like without Final Destination, there's no such thing as Blumhouse.
Blumhouse?
Yeah. If you think
Really?
about Blumhouse early films like Truth or Dare, or like a lot of the silly movies they have that feels very gimmicky, I feel like it's inspired by.
Is that Blumhouse? Paranormal Activity? That's what put them on
yes,
the map,
Paranormal
right?
Activity is Blumhouse too, yeah.
Low
I feel
budget,
like
high reward.
Yeah, high reward, gimmicky. It's a theatrical experience because of the gimmick. I think Final Destination started that really, really well. And I feel like we see a ton of films in a similar, like when you think about like It Follows, which is, it's kind of elevated horror, but still it has that there. And when you think about films like that, I think Final Destination causes that, having that entity that you can't really see, but it's causing all the horror. So it's hard. They both are very impactful. In terms of enjoyment, though, because they're both equally impactful for me, I think I enjoy Final Destination a little bit more, because I think Scream has a formula that they don't veer off too far from. Like when I think about the new Scream 5 and then Scream 6 versus like Final Destination and Bloodlines was so fun and so entertaining and kind of shifted the Final Destination where we can do more things in there that's more fun. I feel like Scream 5 and 6 kind of remaking Scream 1 and 2 and with new characters instead of like elevating it or moving the franchise forward. So I would have to go with Final Destination because I think that the death as an entity is just way more flexible than just what's the name of the Scream mask guy? Why am I not remember? Ghostface as a character. So yeah, I think I enjoy Final Destination more, and it traumatized me more. The logs, So
I don't want to drive behind any truck towing anything sharp or long. I don't want to be behind it after that.
Yeah, Scream 1 is the best movie of all these movies, but 100%. As a franchise, I gotta go with Final Destination.
Interesting. Okay. I think this is also hard for us because, horror has been such a big genre when it came to the 80s, especially. And so it was like, what is the 90s going to bring when it comes to horror? And then Scream came out, and then Final Destination came out. And that's really our horror franchises that really have a place in history in the horror genre when it comes to movies. And so they both have like a little special place in their heart because those are our horror sagas. We love the Halloweens. We love the Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm Street, but that's not ours, even though it started bleeding into the 90s and the early 2000s. Really, these were the fresh, unique takes on our horror. And that's really why I love both of these. And that's why it was hard for me. To be honest, I am not the biggest Final Destination fan. I love the first one. I think it's iconic. But the next few, it kind of fell off for me a little bit. And then, of course, with Bloodlines, it just completely reinvigorated the whole IP. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With Scream, when we had these aforementioned iconic horror icons, Freddy, Jason, Halloween Mask, Mike Myers,
Chucky,
Chucky, these iconic horror icons. It's hard to imagine that anything could get into that zeitgeist. And then when the Ghostface killer came out, this Ghostface was everywhere, and it is a symbol that recognizes that horror took another leap forward in the 90s when it came to the Scream franchise. If you look at other iconic franchises, the movies start to dip in quality greatly after the first one. That happens with most most iconic horror franchises.
Just franchises, period.
Richest franchises, period. And when you look at Scream, just like with Final Destination, which has a similar path, it has a similar trajectory. You know, it kind of started to get stale in 3 and 4, and then in 5 with a new younger cast like Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera, and then moving it to New York in the last, it gave it new life. It gave it some more excitement. It gave it some fun. But I think as a whole, I have to go with Scream just for the icon that is the Ghostface killer. When you put on that mask, when you see that mask on Halloween, it feels like Halloween. It reminds you that in the 90s, we got our own horror icon franchise. And I think that's really what steers me into picking Scream as the iconic GOAT horror franchise that we grew up with.
I love it.
Awesome. This was a hard one.
This is really hard. Right. Yeah, there's no wrong answer.
Yeah, no wrong answer. These are all great, and I love that it hits for everyone differently. Okay, my friend, this is actually the last one we're going to do because I know we got some more news, and I knew Comic-Con was going to take up a good chunk. Which is the GOAT sidekick? We have Robin versus Chewbacca, the GOAT sidekick.
When we're talking about Robin, are we talking about comic animation live action, or are we talking about just animation? Is there a specific barrier?
No barrier. I want to just the image of Robin screams sidekick. When you think of sidekick, you think of Robin. You know what I mean? At the same time, when you think of Han Solo, you think of his boy Chewbacca. Yeah. When you think of the original trilogy, and then some moments with the sequel trilogy, you think the sidekick that's always there, that has your back, that you wish is that hairy mother been Wookiee Chewbacca. So I thought when it comes to these iconic sidekicks, there's really two that stand out in history of pop culture. It's Robin and it's Chewie. So I thought that would be really cool to put against each other.
Oh man, this is hard. My heart is saying Robin, but my brain is saying Chewbacca. And I'm gonna go with my brain on this one. The only reason why is because the Batman films and some of the shows have excluded Robin as a character that needs to be beside Batman, and it's worked. Yes. And they've even to the point where now they've aged him up, and he's Nightwing, and a lot of people want to see him as Nightwing, or they want to see him with the Titans. They don't really need to see him with Batman, so he's not like a sidekick that needs to be there. Even with Damian, they keep trying to get Damian away from Batman. But with Han Solo and Chewbacca, that's the two. You have to have those two together. Chewbacca does not work on his own. He is the ultimate sidekick character. He has to be with them. And I think that Star Wars has tried to get those type of characters next to a protagonist ever since.
Yeah.
So I gotta, in terms of just being a sidekick, I think it has to be Chewbacca. But yeah, Kenny Sparks is right. Robin is beating Chewbacca's ass easily.
They made John Boyega the new Chewie, pretty much. Like, you just sidelined him. Should have been a Jedi.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree there. He should have been a co-lead in all those movies.
My costume is getting messed up. No. Just got this bad boy in the...
Nice.
I'm going to be Clark Kent with the shirt opening up and the tie over the side with the symbol and the glasses, and then Erica, my wife. No, dude, I messed this up.
You got some marks on it?
Like some creases. Yeah, really bad creases from the chair. And then my wife is gonna be Lois, and then our dog's gonna be Crypto.
Oh, nice. I love that.
You know, this was hard for me because these are just such iconic sidekicks that don't get talked about enough, about how much they actually emphasize the hero, the Batman, the Han Solo. Like, without the sidekick, are they as iconic as we thought? Or does, maybe so, but do they get even enhanced more by having these sidekicks next to them to play off of? I think so, and that's why it's really hard for me. And I love Chewie. Chewie is the GOAT, but not when it comes to sidekick.
Okay.
I think I have to go with Robin. In history, Robin has been known as the sidekick. When you think of infamous sidekicks, your brain automatically goes to Robin, whether it's the Adam West series with Burt playing Robin greatly as a contemporary to Batman, right? That you said they played with his ages a little bit. But at this end of the day, the mantle of Robin is such a well-known sidekick that it's so hard for them to adapt, because they're like, how do we translate this to the screen? It's not that hard to adapt. You just aren't that good of a writer. No, I'm just kidding. But at the same,
that's a take. I think it's the correct one.
I think you're right, because Matt Reeves said it himself. You know, there's so much that you can do to Robin to strengthen the ideas and the things that you have layered within Batman in his story moving forward. And to have a character that you can enhance even more, a Batman character, which is already the most iconic superhero of all time, arguably, to be able to say, but a sidekick like Robin can enhance him even more, that is huge. And that is really why I think the ultimate sidekick is Robin, and why he takes the mantle of GOAT when it comes to him versus Chewie. Da-da-da. I'm crying, bro.
It's really that messed up?
Yeah. You know, I can just, you know, there's some ways with Amazon. Just exchange it. Not a big deal. So that will do it for the GOAT or Nope debate. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with me? Do you agree with Zach? Do you agree with Kenny that Robin will beat Chewie's butt talks? Drop a comment below and let us know what you think. Who is your GOAT? Remember, this is the GOAT of these two. So that's all we're debating. But if you have a GOAT in your mind, drop it below and let us know. All right, guys. With that down, I wanted to get into this. Peacemaker finale has ended. It is kaput. And whatever you think about the quality of the episode, what that means for the series in general, that is totally fine. But we are here today to talk about what James Gunn has to say on the Peacemaker finale and how this will have huge ramifications for Superman, Man of Tomorrow, and the rest of the DCU moving forward. This comes to us from comicbookmovie.com, baby. They say the season 2 finale Peacemaker is now streaming on HBO Max, while Full Nelson, the finale, has proven to be somewhat divisive. The mostly character-focused episode did set up a couple of major DCU storylines. James Gunn has previously revealed that the events of the finale will directly tie in to Man of Tomorrow, but will we actually find out what becomes of the titular vigilante himself? Peacemaker Season 2 concludes with Chris Smith and the rest of the 11th Street Kids, along with Judo Master and Argus agents Sasha Bordeaux and Langston Fleury, founding Checkmate, and a vengeance-filled Rick Flag Sr. establishing his villainous turn by kidnapping Chris and stranding him in Salvation, the Earth-like dimension Flag intends to use as a prison for the planet's metahumans. Gunn was asked if Superman follow-up will directly address Peacemaker's fate during an interview with Rolling Stone. And here's what James Gunn had to say. No. But people should expect that the way that the military and Rick Flag and everybody are working together, and they've created a probably illegal prison for metahumans on another dimension, is going to be a big part of DCU stories going forward. And not just a tertiary, oh, this is Arkham. It's a part of the stories. There's an escalating war, obviously, that's going on between the government and metahumans, and this is a part of it. Gunn has confirmed that the events of the finale are building towards his own take on DC Comics' Salvation Run, a 6-issue miniseries that saw the government exile some of Earth's most dangerous metahuman criminals to the planet Cygnus 4019, also known as Planet Salvation. Separate factions are formed as the villains struggle to survive and attempt to discover a means of escape. If we will be revisiting Salvation in Man of Tomorrow, surely it would be odd if we didn't at least get a hint about what happened to Smith during his time on the prison planet. Rumors persist that John Cena will appear in the movie, so there's a chance Gunn's simply trying to throw fans off the track here. Gunn also was asked if Salvation thread will continue in Supergirl and Lanterns, and here's what James had to say. Both of those things are worked in. We knew both of these stories were a part of what we originally put together. So they're part of the overall tapestry, but they're also their own thing. Supergirl, especially as a space adventure, it's like Guardians. Lanterns is its own thing. Just there's a longer sort of bigger world we're building with all these different pieces, and they'll all come together and intersect sometimes in a story fashion and sometimes just in a, here's another piece of the world fashion. Peacemaker Season 2 follows Chris Vigilante as he struggles to reconcile his past with his newfound sense of purpose, while also continuing to kick righteous evildoers' butts. But this discovery of this alternate world that we found in Season 2 forces him to face his traumatic past and take the future into his own hands. The new season follows Chris Smith, aka Peacemaker, the vigilante superhero, as he struggles to reconcile his past. And we see that Peacemaker may have something to do as he is stranded on this planet, as you can see in this picture. I know you did not get to see Peacemaker Season 2.
Yeah.
But with the themes and the ideas that you see were landed in the groundwork of what's to come in the rest of the DCU, and based off James Gunn's comments on Salvation Run, that we could be leading up to this, that it will play a very heavy role in Superman 2. What does this mean to you?
Right off the bat, I just like that we're getting a storyline that's not super iconic, but it's kind of known. I've been begging comic book movies or comic book universes to do that. Take storylines that are really, really good and apply them to live action. It doesn't always have to be the most iconic, because there are a lot of great stories here, like Salvation, that you can use that now a lot of people can't just predict what's going to happen because they didn't read it or they missed it. Or this helps comic books now. They can put that 6 issues out again and get it to be sold because people are going to want to read into it. It's kind of like what they do with the Harry Potters or Maze Runner or Hunger Games. When they put these movies out, the books sell more because people want to get more into the details of the universe that they did here. And I really love that they're doing that.
No, that's a good point. And I think using Salvation Run is definitely a James Gunn thing, because people did not see that coming at all. And he likes to completely circumvent expectations and go 180. And this is a great way to do it. It's more grounded. It's more real, how do I put this? Gathering people that you deem unfit to live in human society and locking them away that could be illegal and could have ramifications on what that means for your nation and the future of your country. What are we talking about?
And he already dealt with Nazis within that show. You know what I mean? He dealt with Nazis, which is a big thing.
Right. And does it mirror the ideology of Nazis? Like, you thought we were so much better than Earth X, but then Chris gets back and sees that the same themes, the same things are happening in his own universe. And that juxtaposition is really cool. And that's where I think James Gunn's writing is his strongest, when he's able to show these symbolisms in this way and not have it so heavy-handed.
Yeah. Like, if you know, you know. If you don't, it's just a storyline.
What I also think that is really cool is we are getting Checkmate, which is a secret organization. I have a short video about it, if you guys haven't checked it out, that explains the history and what that means about the secret organization, and also the people that have headed this organization, whether it's Maxwell Lord or Amanda Waller. There is a lot of history when it comes to Checkmate and the DCU. Using Checkmate in this way, having Team Peacemaker and these characters that we've grown to love, and having them be more of a positive counterpart to the darker, more extreme Argus, is a great way to have their own shield agency within the DCU. So I'm really glad that we're not just building out heroes, but we're also building out agencies that are for and against different sides of these strong beliefs. And that's a great way to do it with the agency Checkmate.
And that's very unique to the DC universe. DC has more iconic agencies and villain organizations. Yeah. Marvel has some, but they're just not as fleshed out or as known as the stuff that you're talking about here in terms of Argus and Checkmate. And the Amanda Waller show, which is still, being worked on, was originally called Checkmate. So I feel like that leads right into that. So I like that he's setting things up, making people go on these journeys, and then at the end setting up the next thing. It doesn't feel like the season is to set up the next thing. It's the season's telling that individual story, and then things that happen in that individual story sets up the next thing, and then Salvation will be running through Lanterns a little bit, running through Superman, and then maybe probably even the Amanda Waller show. Because if she kind of did in Suicide Squad, where she took metahumans and made them the Suicide Squad. So we can see how that all ties in together.
DC's Apocalypse, like they have their own Apocalypse. Yeah. In the comics on Planet Salvation, we actually find out that this is a playground for Apocalypse to use these villains and metahumans that were stranded on this planet to plan his attack when it comes to the regular Earth. And so there's actually a hidden meeting and monsters and things on this planet that we haven't seen. And in the end of this episode, when he is stranded on this planet, we hear in the forest roars and screams in the forest, and then it cuts to black.
And this chapter is called Gods and Monsters. So
let's go!
Ties all together.
Son. On top of that, I can't wait. Now, on top of that, I really enjoyed that James Gunn is using Planet Salvation to further the idea and the themes that he set forth in Superman. When Lex Luthor says, "You're an alien, like you're a dumb alien, like you don't deserve to be on Earth," like that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's the same xenophobia that will continue throughout the DCU. It's very X-Men. It's very mutants. It's, he's using metahumans as the mutants of this world. And he has the benefit of starting out his universe with this because he owns the rights to all the characters. When the MCU did it, they didn't own the rights to X-Men, to mutants, to any of that. And so they couldn't do that. So I think he is able to see what MCU did and be like, you know what? We have the tools, we have the characters. Let's build it out now and have this be a constant theme, not something that happens later down the road, but something that is continuing to happen as the universe expands.
Yeah, and the fact that he's getting an X-Men like story out before Marvel can get the X-Men off, this is going to be a consistent issue for the MCU where James Gunn is just going for it, right? Like, I didn't watch Peacemaker season 2, but I've been spoiled on some things. They've done the multiverse, you know what I mean, already. They're doing certain storyline. They kind of have like a Thunderbolts with the Creature Commandos, kind of, you know what I mean? So he's just going for it. And if you're along for the ride, you're along for the ride. But he's also grounding it in real life aspects, which I think Marvel Disney has been scared to do. To have anything reflect what's going on in real life. I think Marvel has been trying not to do that for a long time. And I think that's going to be at their detriment.
I think you're right. And I think James Gunn has the benefit of learning the lessons from his previous employer and implementing that into spearheading what the DCU will look like for the next, hopefully, 15 to 20 years. Yeah. That's the goal. We'll see, because the bids are coming for Warner Brothers quickly, as they just announced they denied the bid, which means they're in negotiations, which is scary.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Let us know what you guys think. Are you excited for Planet Salvation playing a huge part in the future of the DCU and Superman 2? And are you excited also that we get to have Checkmate, the DCU's own Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and how that will play a part within the universe moving forward as well? Drop a comment below and let us know what you guys think. All right, guys. We're almost out of here. We got 2 more things, and we got some hot other stuff that isn't Marvel from the New York Comic Con. And that is one of the hit animated shows of the past 5 years. That is Invincible, which season 4 is coming out, which was announced on stage in New York this past weekend. This comes to us from my favorite, comicbookmovie.com. They say Amazon Prime Video announced that the 4th season of Invincible is set to premiere next March during yesterday's New York Comic Con panel, and gave a first teaser trailer that is now online. As has become the norm, this first promo doesn't actually feature any footage from the show itself, as Adam Eve joins Mark Grayson in the Burger Mart booth to chat about the events of the previous season and tease what's to come. Our titular hero very nearly met his end at the hands of the bloodthirsty villain known as Conquest in the season 3 finale, but he's going to come up against an even tougher opponent in season 4, Grand Regent Thragg. There are a number of incredibly powerful characters in the world of Invincible, but a lot of fans would consider Thragg to be at least among the most formidable. Kirkman has previously confirmed that Thragg has been cast, and we now know that he will be voiced by GOTG, Guardians, and Foundation actor Lee Pace. Robert Kirkman told EW, oddly enough, I had Lee in mind for this role almost before the show existed. Wow. To be completely honest, when he was cast in Foundation, I was like, is this too close? Am I going to be able to cast him as Thragg if he's available? Is this going to work? Lee Pace added, let me just start with that he looks cool as hell. The character looks so badass. As I was learning more about the story, we were setting up. What I saw was a character with a lot of depth and a lot of different extremes. He goes through a lot. I don't want to say too much about that because we're just at the beginning of it, but I've also never done anything like this before. I've never done a voice to character like this. I do feel like I'm playing the character like I know him now. We've recorded enough and I've researched him enough thought about him when I'm going on my runs and been inspired by the comic books, but also the fans engagement with the character. It all kind of goes in the machine in a way. Matthew Rise from The Americans and Perry Mason has also joined season 4 voice cast, but his role is being kept under wraps. Invincible has been renewed for season 5 as well. That is our Thragg, Lee Pace. It is official. And this villain will be a villain that will continue through the rest of the entire Invincible run. What do you think of this announcement as Lee Pace as Thragg? And are you even excited for Invincible season 3?
Wait, 3 or 4?
Season 4.
I'm super duper uber luber sluber. I don't know what other kind of words I can say. Excited for Invincible season 4. I've been shouting to the heavens, to the hells, to the left, to the wall, to the window, to the sweat drop down my balls, to everybody to watch this show because it's absolutely incredible. Season 2 is a little bit of a drop off, but even that season 2 is still better than most shows. And 3 and 4 have been incredible. I mean, season 3 was incredible. I'm excited for 4. I'm excited for Thragg, right? Invincible is a comic that's been out for a long time, but I never read it. So everything that's happened in the show is brand new to me. And I've been hearing about Thragg from my friends for years. So now that he's casted, now that he's kind of drawn, Kenny said, this is a PG program. What I'll say is that Lee Pace kind of looks like Thragg. Like if you cut his hair properly and dye his mustache, he would look like the character, and he has that voice. Because I think he's in a movie called Companion, and I'm like, I remember hearing his voice. He has a good voice for it as well. So I think I'm really excited.
No, he's not. He's not in Companion.
No? Okay, I'm mixing them up.
You know, it's funny though. I just showed Companion on Friday because my wife and I saw it in theaters, but I showed it again to a couple that we went back to our place to watch a movie.
Yeah.
And they were like, this is really good. What you're getting mixed up with is Bodies.
Oh, yes, he was.
Kind of similar. I see the similarities.
Definitely similarities. But I think he's gonna do a great job. The fact that he's thinking about the character on his runs, diving deep into the character. I love when actors say that, right? Because a lot of times they're like, "Oh, they told me not to pay attention to the character." That scares me.
Yeah, he wants it. You know, like he wants to feel what Thragg feels. It's not just a voice for him. He feels like he's playing it on the big screen. Is how seriously Lee Pace is taking the Thragg role, and that means he's giving 110%. So hopefully, because for Invincible fans, they know this character is arguably one of the most important villains that you will see throughout the entire Invincible run. And so it matters to them. And he said at New York Comic Con, this fan base is one of the most diehard fan bases that he has ever been witness to. And he was in Marvel, bro. And he still was like, this matters to people. And if it matters to you guys, it matters to me. And that makes a huge difference in how you act with your voice. And I hurt my elbow.
Yeah. And it makes a huge difference how we react to you. And what I'll say is that about the Invincible fan base, they are very passionate, but they're also not toxic. I like that they're okay with the changes that are in the show, the rearrangements of storylines, maybe how they may change the race of characters or whatever, or the sexuality. They got their comic, they loved it, they breathed it for whatever how long it was, and they're okay with the new adaptation of it because it still has a soul of what they like. So I'll say that, and I think he was right about how he just needs to do right by the fan base since they're so positive.
I love that mentality. Do right by the fan base. Not a lot of, some people say it, not a lot of people put it to work, and it looks like Lee Pace does. I do think that his Ronan the Accuser is an underrated villain that did not get enough in that movie. I feel like Lee Pace was very powerful as that character, but because we didn't get it, and it felt goofy at times on purpose, that it didn't really show how good he was as that villain. But I think this is where he's going to show his chops. Even if it's not him, the voice is him. Voice acting is acting. Don't get it twisted. Voice actors need to be recognized because it is extremely difficult to do. Some would say even more difficult than being on screen yourself. And I think Lee Pace, his voice is iconic. When we talked about iconic voices, when it came to the actor that was cast as Tombstone, and man, there was another voice that we talked about. I think we forgot about Lee Pace's voice, because that bad boy is extremely iconic, and to have it matched up with a villain like this, we're in for a big treat, and we're also in for something that could go down as one of the best comic book villain adaptations that we've seen thus far.
Agree.
Potentially.
Agree.
All right, guys. Let us know what you guys think. Do you like this casting? Do you love it as much as we do? Are you excited for season 4? I did also want to mention before we go off, a lot of people talk ish about the animation. I do want to say that the creators and the people behind Invincible have recognized that and said that they have focused on improving the animation. That being said, what would you rather have? Great storytelling or great animation? Be appreciative for the things that you get.
Great storytelling by far. There's some stuff. Oh, am I back? Am I good?
Yeah, just a tad. It's a little fuzzy, but we got you. Hey, we lasted this long with the internet outage and coming back. This is pretty good.
Yeah, this is pretty good. I way more prefer great storytelling. I've seen some shows that look really, really pretty and the story is butt. So I can deal with lower animation and great story. And they turn the animation up when they need to, because that conquest fight was amazing looking.
Beautiful. One of the best fight scenes we've seen in comic book television, hands down. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for Invincible season 4? Thragg being introduced, Lee Pace playing Thragg. There's a lot of fun stuff. And tell me what you think about that teaser in the diner. That was really funny. So drop a comment below. Let us know what you think, my friends. All right, guys. This is our last topic. And this is an important one to me because I would say in my top 4 of all time, Alien 1, yes, Alien 1, not Aliens, is one of my favorite movies of all time. And a big part of that is Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, one of the most iconic female leading badasses in a movie and in a sci-fi.
Yep.
But we haven't seen her since the 3rd movie, which left people a lot to be desired. Well, my friends, it looks like we might be getting Sigourney Weaver back in the Ellen Ripley chair for another Alien movie. This comes to us from SFF Gazette. They say the recent rumor that the next Alien movie might be set to bring back Sigourney Weaver to play maybe a de-aged Ripley was met with a mixture of excitement and trepidation from fans of the classic sci-fi horror franchise. But Alien Romulus director Fede Alvarez debunked the report as fun gossip back when it was being discussed about a year ago. Well, Ripley may not show up in a Romulus sequel, but it seems like there may have been some truth to the rumor that the actress is considering a return to the franchise. Weaver had the following to say during a panel appearance at New York Comic Con. She said, Alien producer Walter Hill is a very good friend of mine, and he wrote 50 pages of where Ripley would be now, and they're quite extraordinary. Weaver on stage during a conversation with one of the GOATs, Josh Horowitz, also said, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I have had a meeting with Fox or Disney or whoever owns it now, whatever you want to call it. I've never felt the need to reprise the role. I was always like, let her rest, let her recover. What Walter has written seems to be so true to me, as very much about the society that would incarcerate someone who has tried to help mankind for so many years, but she's a problem to them. So she's sort of tucked away. I think it's a very strong first 50 pages. I'm thinking about working with Walter to see what the rest of the story would be. It would not be running around air shafts, she added. It would be a very different kind of alien with a really good script. Scary. So if Weaver does decide to reprise her most iconic role, it sounds like she'll be playing Ripley without the use of de-aging technology, which is a good thing. If this is the case, we assume the events of both David Fincher's Alien 3, which killed Ripley off, and Alien Resurrection, which brought her back as a clone, will be ignored completely, which may not be a bad thing. This would make a lot of sense that Ripley showing up in Romulus' timeline, since she would have been in cryosleep right up until the events of James Cameron's Aliens. Weaver went on to say, but I love what he's done with the character. He really gets her strength and her anger and her humor, and it's very hard to write. It's surprisingly hard to write Ripley. Everybody makes you sound like a gym teacher. All right, people, let's do business. So Walter has it. She did go on to mention, though, even though she loves Walter Hill and she said nobody can write as good as he did, she did give some love to Neil Blomkamp and said that he wrote a lot of great pages that she wished came to fruition. But here we are, Walter Hill, 50 pages, Ripley maybe be back in the chair, Sigourney Weaver talking about it on stage. What do you think about these rumors? Does it excite you? Do you even want to see Weaver back as Ripley? Ellen, her name Sigourney Weaver sounds like it should just be that name in Alien. It's such a great Sigourney
such a movie
Weaver
name.
Name. It's like Ellen Ripley. It doesn't even sound as good as Sigourney Weaver. I love Sigourney Weaver. We're gonna see her soon in The Mandalorian and Grogu. What
Avatar
do you think
2,
about
Part 3?
Yep. What do you think about what's going on with Ripley and Alien? Does this excite you?
It excites me. I actually saw this video where she was talking about this right after I saw Tron Ares. I got out and I watched it. I'm new to the Alien franchise, as you know, babysitter file. Missed a lot of things. I love Alien, Alien 2, Alien Romulus. I think I missed 3. I watched 4. I think Resurrection is 4. I love Alien Resurrection. I really like the character of Ripley, and what she said about where Ripley is now, that gets me excited because the de-aging thing scares me. De-aging does not look good most of the time. I just watched Tron Legacy.
Tron Legacy.
Oh, twins. And that was terrible. It didn't ruin the movie for me, but it was like, oof, I wish I would have just casted someone that looked like him.
It's hard to Bridges is so good, but it would take you out of it seeing Ripley de-age at this point.
Yeah, it's just de-aging rarely looks good. So I would rather her be who she is now at her age, and just get into the best shape she can and tell a story appropriate for the age that she is. Hey man, if they could find a way to tell an alien story that's focused on the character and the aliens are kind of around and it's kind of like the pressure but not the focus, I think that would expand the franchise even more than maybe like Earth or Romulus has.
I completely agree. I think Ripley's story needs to be concluded in a better way. I don't think Alien 3 was the way to end it. I know they resurrected her as a clone or whatever in Resurrection, but Alien is such an iconic movie to me. And then Aliens reinvigorated the franchise yet again. And so with those two movies, those are arguably some of the people's favorite sci-fi movies of all time. And then there's been some lackluster. And then Alien Romulus came out and got some love again for this franchise. And then Alien Earth came out and the ending was terrible. But there's a lot of great aspects of the show that people really loved. I think this is the time to capitalize on that love and get Sigourney Weaver back in the Ripley chair. And I think there's a smart way to do it where it is a straight horror alien movie again. Not like what we've seen in Romulus, not like what we've seen in Alien, but something that talks to the story of a Sigourney Weaver's Ripley that's aged, that has gone through all these things, that is not deemed as the hero that she should be for putting mankind first, but sidestepping her time and time again as their dirty laundry, as their dirty secrets that they don't want to get out, and not giving this character the respect that she deserves for the hero that she was in these stories. There is a great story there that can be told.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right, guys. That will do it. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited that Sigourney Weaver is finally saying, you know what? The original writer has 50 pages. I'm actually curious to see what more he has in him. Maybe we can get this to the screen. Or do you think, let's let it die? Let's, continue the Romulus storyline. The sequel's already going to come out, even though Fetty's not directing it anymore. Let me know your thoughts. Drop them below, because I love Alien franchise and I love Sigourney, one of the most powerful female characters that we've seen on screen in history.
Agree.
All right, guys. That was a great show. When there is a Comic-Con, chef's kiss with the content that we get. This is what we love. This is what we geek out about. And I loved every moment, because this stuff that we went over, as I'm pointing to the banners of all the stuff we went over, this is what we have to look forward to in the next year, year and a half. And we got some great stuff to look forward to. So I cannot wait. Zach, my friend, it is always a pleasure having you on the show, getting your takes, talking with you. Where can the good people find you?
Yeah, find me on YouTube at Zach Attack Reviews, just like it says right here. You can find me on social media everywhere, Zach Attack RVS. I have a non-spoiler Tron Ares review out, and on Tuesday, I have a live stream group thing I do with Kenny Sparks, who was in the chat today, called Film Club, and we're going to be talking about spoilers for Tron Ares, which is going to be very interesting because I like the movie and he didn't, so that's going to be very interesting to see that back and forth. So that's where you can check me out.
Yes, and I will be on a film club coming up in the next few weeks, so I'm really excited. And also, I do want to let you guys know there is an Instagram film club with Zach and Kenny on Instagram right now. So please subscribe. Please like the content. They got some great takes on there from the movies that are coming out that we all love. So please check that out.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate you. I forget it. I forget sometimes.
I know. I mean, we go through so much, All right, guys. Thank you so much, Kenny. Thank you for joining us in the chat. Check out Kenny Sparks as well. He has such great content and such great takes. He will be on the Evan edition shortly. We are working out the details, so stay tuned for that as well. And thank you guys for tuning in. With another week down means more geeky things to talk about, and what better than to geek out with you guys. So drop a comment, like, subscribe, be here for the conversations, and we will see you guys next time. Goodbye, my friends.
It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.